Alrighty. Good afternoon, everyone. Brian here to give you another weather update on the Christmas holiday. We've got several storms going to impact multiple sides of the country. The whole country is in a matter of fact. Um, so I'm gonna start out with the upper level support. So that's going to be your 500 millibar height. So what this is clearly telling us is this blue line you see here, this right here is your 540-degree line, which is your freezing line, of course. You've got a storm off into Canada right now here. You also got a storm uh, right here, which will clearly become a ridge here and shortly as well. And we'll technically put a ridge there. So as we move forward, let's go to about Friday about 6 p.m. Friday, December 20th at 6 p.m. We have a storm system coming off with Canada here as well. And once the storm moves this way, we have a big low pressure that will start to probably form closer to the east coast toward Virginia and the east coast there, bringing some rain, and some mountain snow to the interior northeast, right here across Pennsylvania, uh, the upper Appalachians of Pennsylvania, New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, and up into Maine as well. And then as we head over toward 12 a.m. that Saturday, warm up really starts to go across the central and western United States, while the east will stay cold. The east is looking like a very wet and snowy pattern for the east coast. Uh, so if you're here in the central, say the central and southeastern United States, this area here, don't don't rely on a white Christmas anymore. Your white Christmas chances are near zero right now, are near zero for this year. But it's as we head over toward we head towards Saturday about 6 o'clock in the evening, we will start to see that 540-degree line shift further south. Um, and then the next storm systems coming off of the Pacific Northwest, which the central and southern United States, south central United States will start to put a ridge up in this area here. And as we head over to this area, we will start to see a ridge really start to take over for much of the central and western United States, and maybe parts of the Ohio Valley as well. Um, and then some of the east remains cold through December 22nd. But then our next storm system comes off. We have a subtropical jet that's going to be coming in just like this, streaming this way. And then your low pressure, we have a low pressure that will form likely right here. And then another low pressure coming off of the coast of the Pacific Northwest. That all will come together and create a storm for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day snowstorm. This is Christmas Eve morning. You can see here a ridge in Canada, and while much of the country is above normal, you can see next storm system here riding along the Pacific Northwest near British Columbia. You can see your subtropical jet really starts to kick in. A trough really digs in across the south central United States, and we start to have a storm that's going to form there and in the Pacific Northwest. You've got shortwave troughs coming in, screaming from the British Columbia, Manitoba area. So once those happen, you have a collision in air masses. You've got warm air to the south here, got colder air coming here, and you got upper level support coming in. And once that upper level support comes in, then you've got collision in air masses, and that will probably indicate severe weather to the southern half of the United States, and then some snow to the northern half. Uh, I don't think the snow will be too much, but I do think that the snow will definitely cause some travel issues across most of the country and the severe weather in the southeast and the south central United States. So as we go back, you see this little shortwave, this little storm that comes in around Christmas Day could not. I don't think that's gonna put severe weather here in in parts of the deep south across Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Alabama. But it's the second one as we head to after Christmas that we're going to have to keep our eye out on. We've got another cold blast coming in. Another storm comes out right after that, after this one and that one. So you can see here, this is after Christmas, about midday, so lunchtime. Timing is still a very uncertain with this. This is going to change. It will change, but it's given us an idea of where we will see this active pattern really start to come in. So looks like that upper level support, the lower level support really starts to dig out and really create a trough just like that. So you have a negative, positivity, negative to the trough coming in. And once that trough digs in, this is according to the Canadian model. It's a little supportive. It backs out on that support, and then we're still staying in that ridge across the United States. So I'm going to go back and I want to show you the European 12Z European model. So as we go toward, let's go forward to, so this is December 20th, about 9 o'clock at night. You can see your 540-degree line bringing some rain and snow to higher elevations. The placement on this one, the European model, has it a little further east into the Atlantic. You've got the ridge really starting to build here across the western and central United States as well. And then you've got that system really starting to dig into the east coast. That's the 540-degree line, your freezing line, bringing some really cold air and some really Arctic air. You've got some really cold temperatures, some sub-zero temperatures coming in from Canada, and that will bring winds out of the northwest. And once the winds come out of the northwest, you have that cold air following it. So that's what I mean, bringing the snowfall into portions of the northeast. And then you can see what the European model does. It has that storm moving out, and then most of the country, by approaching Christmas Eve, is above normal. A big warm up coming for the country as we head into Christmas and Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. So as you can see here, big ridge still across the center of the country, and most of the country by Christmas at 6 a.m. according to the European model, if this is right. We've got this model has the European has a little bit of a shortwave trough coming in, a little bit of a dig here. Could bring some severe weather here to the central United States. I don't think it's going to be much because you just don't have the dew points there for severe weather for that day. It's still a thing to watch out for, but I think it's just after the end of the year. This is the 28 time frame. This is what I've been watching from the European model. See what the trends are. You can see a little shortwave trough comes in here. The shortwave storm comes in here, and then another storm comes off the Pacific Northwest, and then you can see what this model does. It has that little area of a negative tilted trough just digging into the central United States, and that dig will be a crucial factor of what kind of severe weather we'll get and what kind of snow we'll get to the northern half of the storm system here. Also, and then it intensifies this in the 500 millibar highs. It intensifies it across the Ohio Valley after it moves off of the central United States over Arkansas. And you can see what happens here December 30th near New Year's Eve, or the day before New Year's Eve. It has a storm starting to form across the east coast there. I'm not saying it's going to bring snow, but has it moving off. And then we have and then you have about January 2nd. This is way off in forecast. This is way off in Fantasyland, but the European model has a storm that wants to form there. So we'll see what happens as we head to January. January is looking very cold as well. January is looking very cold. Very active pattern is what we're heading into right now. The GFS model, the 12Z GFS. So we're looking at all three of these main models. And we'll go out forward here to December to the 20th. And as you can see here, a GFS model on the 20th, a lot of progressive on this on the 20th, as the storm heads to the northeast. That very cold air really starting to take its shape on the on the northeast and the east coast. And then we have a warm-up. Then the warm-ups, so all three models are very in a good agreement on the warm-up that we're coming into for portions of next week. It's the systems that form next week are the very uncertainty for severe weather for the south central United States, and the snowfall for the eastern United States and the north central and to the northern plains as well. So what I would just say is that be weather aware next week. If you're in the southern United States, keep an eye on the forecast here. And also, if you're in the East Coast, I would say keep an eye on what happens with the coastal low that forms. So if we can have a coastal low that forms here, closer to the coast, then you've got snow for the I-95 corridor as well as New York City and Philadelphia. But if this system or the next week's system forms a little bit offshore, that brings an all-rain event to the I-95 corridor and mostly a snow potential for the Ohio Valley into the Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina, up Virginia, up West Virginia, up New York State, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. So just keep an eye on it. This system, the 27th, it looks like we have a big storm system that wants to come in around the 28th, bringing severe weather. Maybe not, but we'll see. Big system comes in, maybe bring us a cool down here across the central United States, and here comes the next cool down right here. You see wind start coming out from the northwest, and so we'll see what happens there as well. Now I want to transition over to the temperatures. Your temperature anomalies are going to be, we can see here, your temperature anomalies are very going to be, you can see how we do have a very cold air here across the northern plains, across Montana and North Dakota, South Dakota, here across the east coast here as well, according to the GFS around the 19th, which is tomorrow. But we do have a quick cool down that comes in as the Arctic air rushes in across the eastern and central United States, mainly the morning hours there. But we could have freezing temperatures go all the way further south as Tampa and Orlando, Florida. We can see some freezing temperatures there as well. But this is December 22nd. You really start to see the ridge really start to take shape, while the East Coast is still very cold, and the central and western United States are really starting to flatten out and get into that ridge pattern. But you can see by December 23rd, you can see much of the central and western United States all are in a ridge, and as the warm up begins across that time frame, some areas could be 25 to 30 degrees above normal. We could have a warm up all the way further up toward the Arctic Circle as well. And you can see parts of this area of northern Canada, we can see 35, 40 to 60 degree above normal across northern Canada. That's very odd to see this time of year. And then you can see it doesn't warm up that much after Christmas, and then as you can see, the East Coast really starts to warm up as well. And then you can see quick cold shots, maybe a cold shot here with the severe weather that happens late month. We could see what happens there. And then you turn into that cold pattern now. December 31st, you see the west starts to turn cold again. We have that pattern shift again, according to the GFS model. It's not going to be 100% right, but it's giving us an idea of what January or late December is going to give us. We start to have a pattern change across the west, bringing more storms into the west coast of the United States, and then boom, we're back into a colder pattern across the central and eastern United States as we head into January, into the beginning of January as well. Canadian model is a lot warmer than the GFS model here. We go out further here to Christmas Eve night. You can see much of the country in a warmer pattern. The East Coast still pretty cold here across the East Coast. And then as you can see here, much warmer pattern comes in across the area. But we could have a quick cold shot here across Texas with the severe weather and the storm systems that come in. But we'll see about that. And this is about December 28th as the Canadian model goes out. This is the full run. This is really uncertain right now, but we can kind of tell that we do have a kind of like a zonal flow that comes in across the central of the country, bringing a ridge to the north and also a ridge to the south, while the southwest really starts to come in as the southwest flow really starts to kick in across the area. So we'll see about that as well. And then lastly, we'll look at the European model, the 12Z European, and the 12Z GF European model, showing that ridge really hanging on for much of the country past Christmas, which I don't rule out. I mean, and then we turn cold, and then you see as we head into January, we turn cold. So the European and the GFS model are both agreeing on the colder temperatures as we head into January. Quickly, I want to show you all before I go to all the European ensembles as well as the GFS ensembles as well, and the Canadian ensembles as well. So this is the 12Z European ensemble. This is about the 28 time frame. You can see the ridge really starting to build, and then that colder pattern really starts to take shape here, and then we turn into most of the average kind of view across the Ohio Valley, parts of the South Central as well. GFS ensemble, a lot hanging on to that ridge according to the ensembles of the GFS, and then the Canadian model, a lot colder. So the Canadian model ensembles are saying, hey, I think we'll get multiple storm systems to come in across the area and bring much colder temperatures across the central and south central United States. Their temperatures very cold. This is what I can't rule out right here. Can't rule out a special a cold blast coming into beginning of January, and this is just for fun. But we could see multiple systems come in, bringing snow potential to the northern tier of the country, the interior Mountain West, the upper Mountain West, the western coast of the United States into Wyoming there, and then parts of Northeast. We could see some snowfall, but that's just for that's just in fantasy land, to be honest with you all. So hope y'all enjoyed this video. Um, I will be back for another video later tonight. But I just wanted to give you a quick long video of what's the pattern and what pattern we're heading into now, and then giving you all a quick update on the severe weather as well. So I'll be back with another video later tonight. You have a blessed day and be safe out there.